Hey friends, it's Laura with Laura's Handmade Haven. Welcome or welcome back. I'm so glad you joined me today. Today we're continuing our Cozy Up October flannel projects, and I have a fun project for you today. We are going to take some 6.5-inch squares and turn them into a really cool table runner for your dining room table. Or maybe you have a entry table, or I don't know, whatever table you have, or maybe even your dresser, whatever. It's going to be about 12 inches by 36 inches when we're done. So it's going to be a nice runner size. Definitely would be good for down the middle of the table to set all those fall goodies onto. Now, I don't know if you've noticed this, but my whole idea behind the Cozy Up October was twofold. One, let's use up some of those flannel scraps that we have. And two, let's keep it beginner friendly because I want all of you to be able to do this. And let's be honest, sometimes even when you're not a beginner, you want a quick project just to get some scraps used up, or maybe you forgot to get a gift for someone and you need something really quick to put together that is going to show that you love them so much that you made them a handmade item. They don't need to know that you spent an hour or less. So in my hand are the supplies you're going to need for this table runner. And I have went ahead and cut my 6.5-inch squares. You're going to need 12 6.5-inch squares. If you want to make your squares smaller, then please feel free to do so. Just do the math and make sure you remember you're trying to target 12 by 36. And then I also have my background fabric cut, and it's actually cut at about 16 by 40 because I wanted to add a little extra on the sides and the ends because we're going to do a self-binding table runner to make it so super quick and easy. Then the other thing I have in my hand is some plantational fusible batting, and I'm going to show you how to use that. That's where we're going to go first, is to the ironing table just to get that batting ironed onto our background fabric. Then we'll sew up our squares, put our table runner together, finish off those edges, and have our reveal. All right, so here is our backing fabric, and I have my iron heating up over here. Hopefully it's about ready. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to center my fusible fleece onto the back side of my flannel. I'm going to give my flannel just a nice little press just to kind of warm it up a little bit. You know, if you have a warmer surface to start with, then the fusible fleece will definitely go down a little easier for you. Now, I'm going to be totally transparent here and tell you that I accidentally ordered the fusible fleece. I didn't mean to order fusible fleece. I meant to order fusible interfacing, and well, it just didn't turn out that way. It's just given me the opportunity to be creative and use it up. All right, so like I said, I cut the background bigger than the front of my table runner is going to be. So I'm just going to kind of lay this on here, and I'm going to try to center it. In fact, let me grab a ruler. And this is going to be about 2 inches from the end and then 2 inches from each side. So as soon as I get that in place, we will be good to go and start pressing. All right, that looks pretty good. So now I'm just going to use my iron and start pressing down the fusible fleece, and this is going to fuse it to the backing fabric, the backing flannel that I'm using in this project. And it's kind of fun going through those scraps just because, well, there's lots of scraps in there that haven't been used for anything. Now this is going to take me a minute to get it all pressed out, so while I do that, now I definitely could have waited and fused this to the front of my table runner as well, but I just wanted to use the background or the backing flannel as kind of foundation, and I just wanted to center this fleece onto it. So now I know exactly where I can flip up my edges to do my binding. Now this fleece is pretty thin. I wouldn't put anything, you know, if you're using this on your table, I would probably still use a trivet if you have super hot dishes that you're putting on a wood table. Nobody ruin their table because they misunderstood the purpose of the runner, please. It's good for cold dishes and it's good for warm dishes, but I would still put something underneath those super hot dishes on your table. All right, so we're gonna let this sit here and cool while we sew up the front of our table runner. Now, if you've not seen my videos before, let me just tell you really quickly, I'm using a Juki DX7. I love the extension table that came with my Juki, and I love my Juki. So that's what I'm using as far as the machine. The thread that I'm using, I use a 100% cotton silk finish thread, which is made by Metler. The needle I'm using is a Schmetz Microtech, and I am using a 1/4" piecing foot. Let's see, what else? I think that's about it. That's all that you should be having questions about. I do use just the same color thread in my bobbin as on the top thread. And I'm gonna kind of do these as a webbing type thing. So, and I'm not worried about direction so much on these. I'm more worried about what, I'm doing like a checkerboard pattern. So it's more important to me to keep the right colors going more than the direction of my fabrics. Because, you know, you're going to see this from both sides of the table, so it's important to have a little variety anyway. Now, I said I'm not worried about it. I'm actually purposefully making sure that I rotate some of them because they are both directional fabrics. Now, since this is 12 by 36 and these are 6.5" squares, I am going to go with 6 of each in both rows. So there's 2 rows of 6. And this is the 4th block in the row, in case you're counting. I think that should be the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. All right, so now we're just going to flip these together, and they are webbed together because I just left those little chains between. And I'm just going to start on the one end. Now I am going to do a little back stitch here just because. And I'm going to nest these seams. Now I'm going to take this to the ironing board and press it out before I put them together. All right, so we are back at the ironing board because mostly that's just kind of where it works the best. And I'm just going to kind of line these up. I do see that I have one little mushroom block here that somehow it is a little bit off here. So I'm just going to trim that up real quick. I think it may have had a little wrinkle or something in it when I cut it. But we can fix that, no problem. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to put a few pins in this. I know you guys are like probably freaking out. All these October projects, I'm using pins, and I'm always like not using pins, but you know, sometimes it's just a good idea. And I'm just going to kind of pin it into place in the middle of each of these squares, because I don't want anything shifting on me, the back or the front. Especially since we're going to put a little bit of machine stitching in this, just to do a little quilting, because we want to make sure that fleece does not move with laundering. Because let's be honest, this is probably going to get some stuff spilt on it, and we want to make sure that we can wash it. Now, I'm going to keep my quilting very simple. You could do, you know, squares, you could do a couple different things. You could do corner to corner, you could go with the seams, you could do a meander all over it. You really can do whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with. We're going to stick with something that's beginner friendly today and just follow the stitching lines. All right, so when you're working with a piece of fabric that is this long, it would be my recommendation to do your short lines first. So we're gonna go this way first. And I just have it on a pretty large zigzag. Like I said, I am using a Juki DX7. So if you have that same machine, basically I have it set on 7.0 wide and 3.8 long. And I'm just going to start on the edge over here and start with my zigzag. I'm not gonna do a back stitch or anything because we're gonna go ahead and bring a binding around, and that's gonna secure that seam for me. So I don't need to worry about doing that. Now, be careful, watch your hands because these pins are sticking out and you don't wanna be sliding your hand and accidentally get stuck with a pin. And now, since I'm going to the next square, I'm just going to kind of roll that up over here and then go to the next square and do the same thing. Now for my final stitching line, I'm going to go from end to end lengthways, again, just on that seam. So just holding my hands on either side of it, kind of giving it a little bit of pressure, pulling it apart, pulling that seam flat between those squares. All right, now I'm still leaving my pins in for right now. The last thing that I want to do is just do my binding, and I'm going to go back to a straight stitch for that. And I'm just going to flip this up once and then twice over on itself. And that's going to give me about a 1-inch binding. My grandma used this on a bunch of her quilts. I like to call it a back to front binding. My brother uses this on a lot of his quilts still. And then I'm just going to use my presser foot as my guide. And I'm just going to run this side of the toe of my presser foot along the outside edge of this little fold here. And that's going to give me a consistent stitch all the way around the table runner. Now, when I get to about there, I'm going to flip this up, just like binding a quilt, we'll make a mitered corner. And I am going to run down that miter, that angle there, just to make sure it's good and tucked in and secure. And then we're going to go this way. If you get any puckering or anything along there, don't worry, we will fix that in a minute too. Don't forget to remove all of your pins. And I am actually going to run one more stitch around the outside edge of that binding just to give it a little bit of a more secure, flat feel. We're going to start in the corner over here. Using my other toe on the outside edge, it's going to go all the way around the entire table runner. All right, let's go see what we have. What we have is a really cool fall table runner that's going to be on my dining room table. How cute is this? I cannot wait to see it on the table. I hope that you like these beginner-friendly, quick projects that you can definitely whip up in time for the holidays, for gifts, and for yourself, really. Just to use up those scraps and be able to take some of that stash pile down a little bit, right? So if you have any comments or suggestions, leave those down in the comments below. And in the description box, you will find all the measurements that I used today for the different squares and the backing. I also have links to the different products that I used today. So check that out if you have questions. And until next time, find joy in all you do. Carve out some time for crafting and creating. And remember, it's always better when you make stuff up.